gunned down by a drunk driving suspect we will have late details. And a local gay rights group challenges President Reagan to take action on AIDS now that his friend Rock Hudson has the fatal disease.
Also tonight on Cover Story, we're going to take you to a little-known Napa Valley town where the people don't drink, smoke, dance, or see movies, and they like it that way. And after a hard day at camp, the Niners hang their helmets at a teammate's Rockland bar. We'll take you there live via Satellite 4.
Those stories plus all the news next on Newscenter 4 at 6.
Roz Abrams, Jim Paymar, Mark Thompson weather, Tom Nettles sports, Wayne Shannon with commentary. And now, from the West's most honored newsroom, the News Center for Northern California, this is Newscenter 4.
What started out as a routine drunk driving arrest ended in gunfire and bloodshed in San Jose today. Newscenter 4's Dick Courier unravels the tragic chain of events that led to the deaths of a veteran police officer and his alleged assailant.
Investigators say 36-year-old veteran officer Henry Bunch did not follow department procedures. Bunch and partner Rocky Bridges this morning brought a drunk driving suspect to a breath test laboratory. Officers are required to put their guns in locked storage before removing prisoners' handcuffs. Bridges locked up his service revolver. Bunch apparently did not.
Either Officer Bunch intentionally or unintentionally failed to secure his weapon prior to the time that he removed the handcuffs from the individual to be tested.
Chief Horton says he cannot explain why Bunch did not follow established procedures. Both Bunch and Bridges have extensive experience as training officers. Chief Horton says if anyone should have known the proper procedures dealing with prisoners, it should have been Henry Bunch.
We will have to stress in some way, and perhaps more dynamically, if you will, why it is necessary for officers not to make mistakes, as is indicated in this case this morning.
The 5'6", 150-pound suspect apparently overpowered the much larger officer, then shot him once in the head. Officer Bridges was out of the room at the time. He ran back, and the suspect pointed the gun at him. Bridges wrestled the gun away and then fired 2 shots. One killed the suspect instantly. The other went through a wall in a Superior Court clerk's office.
No, had I been seated, like I was seated at the desk almost all morning, it probably would have missed me, probably gone over my head by about a foot, and maybe about 6 or 8 inches to my left.
Officer Bridges was lucky. He was not hurt. In 1981, Bridges had another narrow escape. He was the victim of a point-blank shotgun ambush. He was saved by his bulletproof vest. In San Jose, I'm Dick Courier, News Center 4.
Bunch is the 6th San Jose police officer to be killed in the line of duty. And we have this just into the News Center. Police have identified the man they say shot Officer Bunch. He is 42-year-old Robert Ordonez, a transient with an arrest record dating back to 1972. Jim?
More disturbing news on crime and violence tonight, this time the troubled city of Oakland. New FBI statistics show Oakland with the 6th highest murder rate in the country. News Center 4's John Fulmer probes the story behind those grim statistics.
Last year, 117 murder victims were hauled off to the Oakland morgue. That's over 32 murders for every 100,000 people, far more than any other Bay Area city, including San Francisco and San Jose. In fact, only 5 cities in the entire country had more murders per capita.
Narcotics certainly has an input into it. Broken families, excessive drinking.
Nobody we talked with on the streets here seemed surprised at that news, probably because they've heard worse. In 1980, Oakland was 2nd in the nation, but being 6th doesn't exactly ease the fear.
You can't go outside at night. You can't go out after 5 o'clock anymore.
A typical reaction: stay home, lock the doors. The cops tell me you may be safer on the streets.
Most of the people there are murders inside houses or inside apartments. People know each other.
Know each other and shoot each other with guns bought for protection from strangers. So hiding behind bars doesn't seem to help.
The youngest one I could recall was an 18-month-old child that got hold of a handgun and shot her brother, accidentally, of course.
Short of banning handguns, cops tell me they simply don't have a solution to that kind of accident or crimes of passion. In Oakland, I'm John Fulmer, News Center 4.
And as we said, Oakland has the 6th worst crime rate in the U.S. We wanted to see just how bad this is in comparison to some other places in the world. And our News Center 4 computer scan is showing that fewer than 2 people in every 100,000 are killed every year in Japan. In England and Canada, the figure is less than 3. And even in West Germany, fewer than 5 in 100,000 are killed. And in Oakland, It's more than 32, almost 20 times more than the nation of Japan. Another mysterious chapter in the saga of the Leonard Lake mass murder case. Tonight, investigators are hunting for an elusive figure who could know something about the Calaveras County murders. Detectives say they want to find a San Diego man who called himself Wayne Greener. The man once visited Lake's cabin and may have helped set up some clandestine drug labs there. But authorities aren't sure whether Greener is a real or fictitious name, and they're uncertain whether the man is still alive. Roz?
Meanwhile, police are on the lookout for another suspect tonight. Someone walked out of San Francisco's Museum of Modern Art with a sizable souvenir, $250,000 worth of artworks. Included in that bounty, 2 paintings by Picasso and 4 by Paul Klee. There was no evidence of a break-in when the art was discovered missing this morning. However, a wedding reception was held at the museum last night, and police are combing the guest list for possible clues. For the first time in many years, narcotics agents are finding a new crop in Northern California, the opium poppy, the plant that produces the raw material that heroin is made from. Agents say they found some 400 well-tended poppies near a marijuana field in Humboldt County. The plants had been slit down the side to let the opium sap collect on the dry buds. There weren't enough plants to make very much heroin, but the opium could have been sold for smoking. The arrival of the so-called killer bees in California could spell disaster for beekeepers in Kern County, where the first hive was discovered. Agriculture officials say they may have to spray 400 square miles to kill off the aggressive bees. That spray could also kill millions of domestic bees. Today on Live at 5, the president of the State Farm Bureau said that is bad for beekeepers and for many of California's crops.
Well, we depend upon the domestic bee for pollination in some 20 of our fruit and nut crops, along with another 20 vegetable and many of the seed crops produced in the state.
5 of the nation's top bee experts are in Kern County tonight to decide how to best handle the infestation, and I'm just getting word that there has perhaps been a second swarm of killer bees just found in that same general vicinity. Jim?
Rangers in Yosemite National Park say the 5 people struck by lightning on Half Dome this weekend ignored posted warnings against climbing in bad weather. 2 Bay Area men were killed. 3 others were injured when they reached the top of the 4,000-foot peak during a thunderstorm. The Park Service says the group ignored the warning signs even though the weather was bad when they started that climb. Tonight, 2 hikers are still in serious condition with 2nd and 3rd-degree burns. Up in the northern part of our state, several lightning fires are still burning out of control tonight. In the Trinity Alps, 4 fires have burned nearly 3,000 acres. A second group of fires has burned nearly 500 acres west of Redding. Fire crews there stumbled onto a huge marijuana farm while fighting that blaze. Police burned almost $4 million worth of plants, but have not been able to track down the owners tonight.
Still ahead from the News Center, charges the Reagan administration is holding back needed drugs from AIDS patients. And we'll take a look at the plight of county hospitals and what the state is doing to help people who cannot afford private care. We'll be back in just 60 seconds.
Reno.
Twice the fun.
Twice as many reasons to come.
Twice the greenery.
Twice the scenery.
Reno.
Choose the one for you.
Volvo made the 740 GLE a car to last into the next century. Smythe European made it affordable. Today you can lease this superb luxury sedan for just $275 a month plus tax. You get Volvo's renowned quality of workmanship. You get Volvo engineering and safety, plus Volvo's spirited turbo performance, all for $275 a month. Better hurry. At these prices, they can't last long. Smythe, the automobile people. Stevens Creek Boulevard, San Jose.
Wheel of Fortune, a show the whole family can enjoy with puzzles to be solved by the young and young at heart.
Tonight at 7 on Channel 4. The new Coit FM 96 plays hours of the best soft hits by all your favorite artists. It's the radio station you've always wanted. The new Coit FM 96.
Actor Rock Hudson suddenly ended his 8-day stay in a Paris hospital by flying back home to Los Angeles this afternoon. Hudson had to be carried by stretcher on board a chartered French jet. Sources close to the world's best-known AIDS patient wouldn't say why Hudson was flying back home. Hudson's struggle with AIDS has other AIDS patients pointing their fingers at the federal government tonight. As Newscenter 4's Linda Yee tells us now, those patients now want one of Hudson's most influential friends, President Reagan, to step into this battle.
It was Rock Hudson's flight to Paris and the Pasteur Institute, the leading AIDS research center in the world, that dramatized a glaring problem.
Why is the situation so bad in America that the president's friends are fleeing the country for treatment.
Today, a San Francisco gay activist group, Mobilization Against AIDS, accused the Reagan administration of holding back needed drugs and forcing AIDS patients who are not picked for experimental treatment in American hospitals to find expensive alternatives. AIDS patient Steve Doyle revealed he was going to France.
Why, as a tax-paying citizen, should I have to go to a country, a socialist country at that?
Former TWA hostage and Shanti Project counselor Jack McCarty thanked the president for saving his life, then begged Reagan to take a look at his administration's lack of response to the AIDS crisis.
People with AIDS are hostages of their illness. They're hostages of the system.
The group claims that the government is killing people as long as it continues to ban certain experimental drugs in this country. And Mobilization Against AIDS says it's prepared to sue the government as long as it denies people with AIDS the right to live. At the Federal Building in San Francisco, Linda Yee, Newscenter 4.
And next month, an Oakland woman will walk across Death Valley to dramatize what she says is the president's refusal to respond to the AIDS crisis. Roz?
Jim, the state is about to spend millions to cover the hospital costs of patients who can't afford it themselves. Newscenter 4's Rebecca Corral says state money is the only hope for these patients.
A $50 million grant from the state will be used by county hospitals like this one to help care for the patients doctors consider medically indigent. These are the adults who aren't poor enough to qualify for Medi-Cal, yet they don't have insurance or enough money for medical care. When an uninsured patient with no money comes to a private hospital like this one for help, he is sent to a county hospital. We're told in some cases, sick patients have been handed a bus schedule for their transfer to Valley Medical Center. In San Jose, Valley Medical Center cares for patients whether or not those patients can pay for the treatment. The state covers 70% of county hospitals' costs, but the care is limited. Only the sick get free treatment. Routine care isn't covered, and emergency room director Dr. Violante says most indigent don't get preventive care.
People who are part of that group that we call the medically indigent, when they do get treated, when they are seen, are sicker than a comparable group of people who do have health insurance.
Statewide, county hospitals expect to fall nearly $98 million short of funds to help these people. The $50 million state grant will help, but that still leaves more than $47 million in unpaid bills, which could lead to a cut in services. Any one of us could feel those cuts. All it takes is a job layoff or a long-term illness that eats through your medical insurance to put you into the category of the medically indigent. In San Jose, Rebecca Corral, Newscenter 4.
Medi-Cal used to pay for a lot of people who didn't have the money. That was until the law was changed 3 years ago. We have two stories tonight about how children may be growing up too fast. First of all, a recent survey of fourth graders across the country showed that 1 out of every 3 has felt peer group pressure to try alcohol. And in Santa Clara County, a psychologist says she has seen ulcers and other signs of stress in children as young as 5 years old. The psychologist says it is the fault of parents driving their children to compete and to excel.
And coming up tonight on 4 at 6, the battle over how much money California should get from oil drilling off our coast, and find out why people are learning how to sell their cities as the news continues tonight.
Catch the rays, feel the heat, breeze on out to the summer beach, turn it loose with the silver bullet. All you have to do is pull it, grab a hold of a cold Coors Light. The flavor's heavy, the weight is right. The silver bullet won't slow you down. Feel the beat, keep it light, party right. Turn it loose with the silver bullet tonight.
Coors Light beer.
It takes getting the burning ahead of the rest. It takes moving faster and being the best.
PSA knows flying where you want, when you want is important. That's why we now have more flights than ever between California and the Pacific Northwest.
We know what it takes to go that extra mile, so we gotta be tough to make you smile.
Books cost too much, so I opened Crown Books. Now you'll never have to pay full price again. We have over 10,000 books to choose from. At Crown, every day, every New York Times bestseller hardback is 35% off, and every bestseller paperback is 25% off, and every new hardcover art, cook, and children's book is 20 to 50% off. Crown's one place you can't judge a book by its cover, price. So remember, if you paid full price, you didn't buy it at Crown Books.
The BMW 5 Series is composed of two luxury sedans. The 528e, that embarrassed the automotive establishment with sheer technological prowess, and the 535i, that embarrassed it with sheer performance. Which one should you choose? That depends on which part of the automotive establishment you'd rather embarrass.
Test drive the ultimate driving machine at your San Francisco Bay Area BMW dealers.
You are probably familiar with the people who sell food, clothing, and gasoline, but you may not know anyone who sells cities. These little-known but important salespersons are now visiting the city by the bay. Newscenter 4's Tom Randalls explains who they are and exactly what they do.
Most of us choose a particular vacation spot because we've been there before or we've heard good things about it. But why do some places sound more attractive than others? Here at the Fairmont for the past 4 days, more than 500 people from all around the world have been learning how to sell their cities.
It's not unlike selling Pepsi-Cola or selling automobiles or Coke or whatever. It's a question of creativity and what will get the person's attention.
Slick brochures or full-length posters will do it, and then there are futuristic machines that show what certain cities have to offer. All of these methods work, but there's still nothing like using good old-fashioned word of mouth.
Boston has it all: history, culture, charm, livability, friendliness.
I wish that you'd give us a chance, visit us, and be comfortable with us, because we're your friends in Asia.
It's very, very much a people city, a city full of charm and hospitality.
We've heard from the experts. Now let's see what type of job they're doing promoting their cities. First, San Francisco.
I think this is one of the beautiful cities in America, really.
So romantic.
What about Boston?
I've been there, but I don't want to go back.
Atlantic City, New Jersey.
No.
Charleston, South Carolina.
No.
Oh. Manila?
No.
Well, there's no accounting for taste. Maybe that's what makes selling cities such a challenge. In San Francisco, Tom Randalls, Newscenter 4.
Experts say tourism and conventions could be the biggest industry in the world by the year 2000. While some folks are busy promoting their cities, the folks in Tehama are busy trying to save their city. Leaders in that tiny Sacramento Valley town cannot find an affordable insurance policy, so they may have to dissolve the city and turn over power to the county. Some insurance companies want $25,000 a year, which is just about the size of the city's entire general fund. Tehama has until Thursday to resolve its crisis.
Meantime, some residents in Alviso have another kind of problem tonight. Santa Clara County officials are saying they can't afford to maintain the Alviso Marina anymore. And 50 boat owners may have to lift anchor and ship out. But they'll have to wait for high tide to do it. The 50 boats moored in Alviso are stuck in the mud most of the time. The county says it's just too expensive to dredge the harbor and keep clear that muck all of the time. It's not dredging, but drilling that's touched off a debate in Washington tonight. It's the controversial issue of offshore oil drilling. But this time, the controversy is not where or if to drill, but who gets the money once oil is pumped. It is a dispute between the state and federal governments over money, $1 billion. Newscenter 4's Washington correspondent Kevin McCullough reports tonight.
The money comes from the fees, rents, and royalties the government charges oil companies for offshore leasing and production. The dispute comes because the state owns the land under the water near the shore, and the federal government owns the land further out. But oil reserves can cross boundaries and lie under both areas, and oil drilling activities can put demands on state and local agencies no matter where the wells are located. So Congress told the states and the Interior Department to split the take on the leases near the boundary line in a fair and equitable manner. That was 7 years ago, and they're still arguing over what's fair and equitable.
The most I could offer previously was 16 2/3, so if the Congress says 27, it's a substantial increase. It's not as much as the governor thinks it ought to be, and that's a judgment he has to make.
So now Congress is working on its own solution, and the governor's Secretary of Environmental Affairs was on Capitol Hill telling a congressional committee that Deukmejian would agree to a federal solution if only the deal was a little sweeter.
I think we'll hold out until we feel that California's best interests are served.
Meanwhile, oil production goes on, and the bank account set up to hold the disputed money now totals $1.3 billion from California operations. And guess who's losing out because of the delay? You are.
Well, I think everybody is hurt by that because the funds cannot be used for public services of any sort, neither by the federal government or by the state.
Right now, there's more pressure to settle. Not only could the states use the money, but Congress is counting on its share to help cut the federal budget deficit. Kevin McCullough, Newscenter 4, Washington.
And Californians aren't the only ones involved in that feud. Texas, Louisiana, and several other states with offshore oil are also trying to make the best deal they can with the feds. Roz?
Coming up, will this particular weather last all week? Mark Thompson is standing by live at Marine World with the forecast.
I am indeed, and you're saying, Mark, what do killer whales know about weather? We'll tell you in less than 2 minutes, right? Right? We'll be right back.
So soft towels, sweet-smelling sheets. No cling to most anything. Bounce for clothes you can't wait to jump into. Come on in. Jump in. Feel the touch. You are the one. You feel so good around me. Jump. Bounce for clothes you can't wait to jump into. Pontiac.
It's closeout time for the exciting 1985 Pontiacs, so come to where excitement lives. Your California Pontiac dealers. For closeout prices on Fiero, Firebird, Grand Am, Sunbird, and 6000. Make an offer on excitement. While your Pontiac dealers got the selection, you'll get the deals. Closeout prices now. Get them while they last. Where excitement lives. At your California Pontiac dealers.
Only one major California bank doesn't impose a per-check charge on any personal checking account. Wells Fargo. No charge for the express banking machines, no confusing calculations, no end-of-the-month surprises on your statement. Wells Fargo checking. It's that simple. No per-check charges, unlimited access. Once again, Wells Fargo Bank comes through.
Introducing a delicious new taste in water. Water that we bring down this California mountain over 30 times a day. Introducing Arrowhead Mountain Spring Water. Clean-tasting water from a real mountain spring in California. Water that's so pure and so naturally fresh, the only way we can bring it to you is to go up there and get it. Water from a higher source. New Arrowhead Mountain Spring Water.
We're Beatrice.
Well, Mark Thompson, in his ceaseless effort to get the weather right, has conscripted a couple of killer whales to help him out tonight. Mark,
yes,
what do they have to say about tonight and tomorrow?
Well, we're going to get to that. As a matter of fact, they are cold water animals, so I'm guessing that this sudden spell of below normal temperatures, Jim, is something that they enjoy. Is that correct?
That's correct. They enjoy it.
Now tell me this. They are enormous animals, 27 feet long, roughly. They weigh about 4,500 pounds, or?
The youngsters weighing approximately that. Yaka, the largest here, is estimated about 8,500 pounds. So there's quite a difference in that.
Now, let me just talk weather here for a moment. All these people from Marine World, Africa, USA, it was a slight shower here earlier today.
Yes, it was, off and on.
A little bit. Now, don't get testy on me. Temperatures were slightly below normal. I suspect we're going to ask the whales. Now, tomorrow does not look like a good beach day, you guys, does it? No, it doesn't. Do you think? Yes, we've got some disagreement now. We've got some disagreement. I think Wednesday doesn't look like a good beach day either, does it? No. The weekend, though, looks pretty good, I think, at this point. So people are going to forget about this. Well, yes, I do. Okay, so there you heard it. That's a preview of some of the information I'm about to pass along to you quite seriously. I think the truth is that tomorrow we do look like we may be in sort of the same basic pattern today. Temperatures in the South Bay only warm to the 70s, and of course, really, I guess south of Menlo Park today, the sun broke out, and it was not too bad a day, albeit below normal. You can see temperatures in San Jose today only warm to the upper 70s. Here on the peninsula, temperatures only in the upper 60s. Redwood City to 68 today here at Marine World. Livermore to 74, Pacifica 61. The fog along the coast actually condensed out into some moisture up in the North Bay. 200s at Petaluma and 100th of an inch of rain over in Napa as well. Concord only warm to the low 70s. Current ratings, as you look back here at Marine World, there's a wave. The wave, 63 to... Now behave yourself, otherwise we'll make sushi out of you. No, I'm only... I'm only teasing. Come on. I gave money to save the whales, so all right, now, so relax. 63 in San Francisco, 60s over in the East Bay, South Bay at this hour, and the sun is finally breaking out in many of these areas into the 70s. So you can see those warmer readings actually just recorded in the last few minutes where we've actually seen some sunshine. From coast to coast today, showers and thunder showers, no severe weather, fortunately, today, and really no substantial amounts of rainfall from coast to coast. But nevertheless, much of the country did see some scattered showers and thunder showers. Here on the West Coast, we're being victimized by two upper-level disturbances, one that is just offshore, and as a matter of fact, it has been the element that has actually lifted all that fog and low cloudiness and brought us some drizzle today. The other low, can you see it up there in the Gulf of Alaska? That low I suspect to move down, and late Tuesday or Wednesday, I am not ruling out the possibility of some showers. So that would be late tomorrow into Wednesday. As that second system moves down, we could again see the possibility of some showers. All right, so the forecast tomorrow will indicate the fog and low cloudiness moving inland overnight. Those areas that have cleared will again be fogged in overnight. Temperatures in the Central Valley will not warm out of the mid-80s. Lake Tahoe will again see the afternoon thunder showers and temperatures in the upper 60s and 60s on the north coast. Bay Area temperatures tomorrow. Temperatures will be in the 80s up in the North Bay. The mid to upper 60s to about 70 here in San Francisco depends a lot on where you are, obviously. The warmest interior valley should get to the low 80s. Fog and low clouds, local drizzle overnight, 40s and 50s. And then for tomorrow, morning fog and low clouds. Otherwise, it should be sunny inland. I think the fog and low cloudiness will linger by the coast, though. 60s right by the water, 80s over the warmest interior valleys, 609, 823 the sun times. 5-day outlook then, the possibility of showers. Tuesday, oh, that would be no fun. And but things look better for the weekend. So thanks so much, Jim. These are great animals. They're beautiful animals.
Listen, while you're here, would you like to pet one?
I would love to. I would love to. I was kidding about that sushi remark. I really was. And hello, hi. Ooh, boy. So, anyway, live from Marine World. That's the weather word. So a little bit of the same stuff tomorrow, but I think things will break out and improve towards the tail end of the week. Thank you all. Everybody at Marine World has been great, and we'll see you tonight at 11.
Thank you, Mark. Hire the whales. They are terrific. There is still much more coming up from the Newscenter in the next half hour. We will show you where the dinosaurs of high technology go when they are no longer wanted. That is coming up in our high-tech report a little bit later on. Also, what's happened to the tenants of so-called slumlord Gunter Kausen since he has died. We will have that story. And we will take you to a Bay Area town called Anguin. To some people, it is God's little acres. We'll show you why next on Cover Story.
What's going on, Charlie Brown? The world-famous Metropolitan Life representative is hooking into Met's Sonic system. What's Sonic? One of the most comprehensive computer systems in the insurance industry. Sounds complicated. It's simple. With Sonic, you get facts about life, auto, or homeowners insurance in minutes instead of days. What an innovation! Of course, some things never change. Get Met. It pays.
Pontiac. Summer's here, and the 1985 Pontiacs are going fast. So come to where excitement lives. Your California Pontiac dealers. To see and drive Fiero, Firebird, Grand Am, Sunbird, and 6000. Take your pick of these 1985 Pontiacs while your Pontiac dealers got the best selection. Check out the values and get them while they last.
Where excitement lives.
At your California Pontiac dealers. Pontiac.
I got this last-minute call to work the 7 a.m. flight, and wouldn't you know it, everything went wrong. I was even out of my antiperspirant. But am I worried? Because I use Mitchum Solid. Mitchum is so effective, I could even skip a day. I mean, you may never have to, but it's nice to know Mitchum's so effective.
Mitchum, used as directed, Mitchum is so effective, you can even skip a day.
Mitchum at Long's.
I remember when I could barely do 6 sit-ups. Today, I'm teaching aerobics. Now that's a change for the better. I used to buy separate detergent and fabric softener. Today, Bowl 3 detergent plus fabric softener is all I buy. I know, 1 product instead of 2. Look, Bowl 3 got a towel like this, really clean, really soft. And I'm not stuck with static, here or here. Bowl 3 leaves everything in great shape.
A change for the better. Bold 3.
Can you imagine a town in the Bay Area where almost everyone behaves the same, where people don't drink or smoke, where almost everyone belongs to the same religion? There is such a town in our own backyard, and it's called Anguin. Most people have never heard of Anguin. In fact, even to people who live in the nearby Napa Valley, Anguin is something of a mystery. Tonight, the mystery is unveiled in our cover story on God's Little Acres in Anguin.
Reporter Janine Yeomans and cameraman Rich Carlson spent more than a week working in Anguin. They got to know dozens of people who live there, and their way of life is the subject of our cover story this evening.
Friday sunset. It's an important time in Anguin, one of the most unusual towns in America. You can't buy any meat in Anguin. You can't even buy a drink here. In Anguin, women don't wear makeup. On Saturday, all the stores in Anguin close, every one. The reason for all this is that 80% of the people in Anguin belong to one religion, Seventh-day Adventist. But it's more than a way of worship, it's a way of life. Seventh-day Adventists don't drink. They don't smoke. They don't eat meat or use any stimulants. They don't even drink coffee. Adventist women don't wear jewelry or makeup. Adventists don't dance, and they don't go out to movies.
And the same Jesus who told us to turn the other cheek is the very same Jesus who said, "Do not be so afraid of a man who can kill your body."
Roger Bothwell is the pastor.
Yeah, we're a life insurance company's dream because the average Adventist lives 8 to 9 years longer than the rest of the general population.
And if you're going to live longer, Anguin is a good place. The town is set up in the forest of Howell Mountain. All around it is Napa Valley wine country, so the little town that doesn't drink is surrounded by a valley that does. More than 100 years ago, Edwin Anguin ran a resort here. People would travel up from San Francisco in horse and buggy. Then in 1909, Adventists bought the land to build Pacific Union College, and Anguin is still a college town. Of the population of 3,000, about half are college students and professors. This is a campus where there's never been a student protest.
For some people, it might be stifling, but this school is centered around the concept that we want to be healthy.
Kirsten Bolander is a senior at the college. At parties, she and her friends have fun without drinking.
There's a lot more talking and discussion, and there's a lot of soda pop and munchy types of foods. I've been to places where we've just laid out all vegetables. A lot of my friends and I were into fresh fruits and vegetables.
Kick of the joy juice for me, it takes me out of my mind.
Herb Ford is a popular vice president of the college.
My interpretation of the scriptures, which says that the body is the temple of God, is that I ought not violate that temple in any way.
Seventh-day Adventists got their name because they believe in the second coming or advent of Christ. Adventists also believe that as God created the world and rested on the seventh day, Saturday, so should they. So from sunset Friday to sunset Saturday, Adventists keep holy the Sabbath. They do not work.
Sabbath is great. It's a time when we turn off the outside influences of the world the best we can and concentrate on family and God. It's a time on Friday evening where the family actually sits down at the table and looks at each other.
Made a statue of gold 90 feet high and 9 feet wide.
This is the Carlton family. Ray is an X-ray technician and Marie is a dental hygienist, and they have 4 children. Like most Adventists, they read the Bible every day.
That the furnace be made exceedingly hot. The flame of the fire killed the men.
The Bible teaches Adventists to be rich in good works.
Engine 18 responding, 1444.
So if it's a fire or any problem, Adventists consider it part of their religion to help others. And Anguin's proud of its all-volunteer fire department. There's no government in Anguin, no mayor, no city council. When something needs to get done, people just pitch in. And even though it's a tiny town, Anguin has a big Adventist hospital, an airport, and a shopping center. Let me show you one of the most unusual spots in Anguin. This is the Adventist grocery store. They don't sell any meat here, or any coffee or cigarettes, or even anything as stimulating as Coca-Cola. In fact, they have a whole counter of meat substitutes, things like non-meat meatballs made out of gluten, soya meat made out of soy protein, and vegetarian burgers.
Good afternoon. You're listening to KCDS in Anguin. I'm Jennifer Lyons. I'll be with you up until 6 o'clock this evening.
Anguin even has its own radio station. KCDS stands for Christ Died for Our Sins.
The song is entitled, Why?
Anguin is a friendly town and family-oriented. There is almost no crime here. People are good neighbors.
There's no other place in the world really like Anguin. The community provides everything. You can start your children off here in daycare and finally 22 years later graduate them with a master's degree and never drive them off the hill. I try and encourage my people that to move off the hill sometimes and not just stay here all the time. It's important for us to be good citizens. And to be good citizens, you have to be aware of what the rest of the world is like.
Valerie Hughes is an Adventist who grew up in Anguin.
It's confining, yet it has a protective aspect to it, which is good, but also bad, because when you do have to go away from Anguin, it's more difficult to adjust.
Frank Godfrey is an Adventist who grew up in Sacramento.
I think it's harder to be an Adventist here in Anguin than it is someplace else because people are more demanding. They know what Adventism stands for, and they know what they should be doing, and they expect you to be the best you possibly can be.
And some people in Anguin drink wine. Mike and Joyce Beatty and their two sons are among the 20% of the residents of Anguin who are not Adventist. And Adventists have never protested the fact that the Beattys earn a living growing wine grapes, Zinfandel and Cabernet. Recently, Adventists lost a battle to keep an actual winery from opening in Anguin, but they are tolerant of the Beatty's vineyard.
They don't proselytize, they let people do what they want to do. So I don't think they particularly approve of it, but they certainly don't. We're not banging on our front gate or anything.
Sure, a lot of people think we're a throwback to the 60s or even the 50s, but I think we like it that way.
Like to keep Anguin a secret?
Sure.
Actually, God's acres in Anguin have remained something of a secret over the years, and that's all right here, too.
Well, I think it is God's little acres. We think it is, anyway.
God's acres are everywhere. It's the people that make an acre God's acres or not. And if Anguin has anything to recommend it, it must not be its soil or its trees, but rather its people.
In Anguin, Janine Yeomans, Newscenter 4.
Because Adventists don't work on Saturday, Anguin is one of the few places in America where the mail is delivered on Sunday instead of Saturday. And one last note, tonight's cover story was edited by Jim Joy.
And coming up on tomorrow's cover story, San Francisco...
I'm sorry.